Ms. Moore steps up to the plate and throws a curveball by revealing to the court that their mother confessed Mr. Moore is not their biological father, sparking a lawsuit for paternity fraud. You'll be on the edge of your seat with what comes next.
But are now in court suing your mother for paternity fraud because she recently dropped a bomb and revealed that Mr. Moore is not your biological father. Mr. Moore, you are 100% certain that these are your daughters, and the DNA test will prove it.
Ms. Willis lays it all out, acknowledging she had every intention to take the secret of her daughter's paternity to her grave, only confessing because her sister backed her into a corner and made her spill the beans.
Ms. Willis, you admit you intended to take this secret to your grave and came clean to your daughter only because your sister forced you to admit the truth. Is that true?
Yes, Your Honor.
Monica takes us back to a family gathering where whispers about her dad not being her real dad started to surface, leading her to confront her mother, who first denied everything, but then dropped the truth bomb.
It was at my Auntie Miriam's house, the one that's here today. They was joking around like, you know, he's not your father and da-da-da-da-da. And I went and asked her about it, and she was like, no at first, and then she was like, yeah, you know, he ain't your father. He ain't your sister's father as well.
This is the man you believed is your father.
It's the only man I ever knew.
Ms. Willis gets grilled about her secretive decision, admitting she had planned to lock that secret away forever if it weren't for her sister's meddling. Fasten your seatbelt, because we're diving deeper into the drama.
And that's how you plan to keep it.
Yes, I was.
So this entire situation was by design.
Right.
And so you say you would have taken this secret to your grave.
Yes, I would.
That's what you planned to do.
Stanley was
She
gonna
still
always
would have
be
took
there.
it, Your Honor, if I wouldn't have forced contact.
Only father he ever knew.
That's fair to us?
Not telling them nothing.
That's fair to us,
That's
your
how
kids?
I wanted it. Because they're telling them that they don't look like him. That he look
We
different.
don't. We don't. She
Which
don't.
it wasn't
We
her
don't.
business to say anything.
In a crucial turn of events, Ms. Willis confesses to having an affair, which likely led to the conception of her daughter, Monica, during that escapade. As we peel back the layers, Mr. Moore's deep involvement comes to light next.
I had an affair.
So she said it was a one-night stand.
It
but
was a
from
one-night stand.
Our relative,
See,
it was an ongoing
that's
situation.
what she always
in the
go
front
wrong.
door,
This
out
to other than her mother.
Well, you never told us anything. We wouldn't be here today.
So,
They
If you
wouldn't
wouldn't have
have
brought me here, I wouldn't be here at all.
But the truth should set you free.
It comes out that Mr. Moore was not just present in Monica's life, but was super involved from the very beginning, even cutting the umbilical cord, all while blissfully unaware of the affair. Get ready, because the DNA results are about to stir up a storm.
And so you told him he was the biological father?
Yeah.
You were present for the birth, Mr. Moore?
Yes.
Cut the vertical cord.
You did?
Yeah.
Did you ever tell the other man you were pregnant and it possibly could be his child? You didn't tell him. So he does not know that you believe Monica is
No.
his biological
He don't
child.
possibly have
He
a
don't-
full daughter.
He don't know until
31 years later, he don't have the
He
right
don't
to
even know she exists.
Whew, now that's hurtful.
The DNA results are in.
It has been determined by this court. Mr. Moore, you are her father.
All right, strap in for this one. Ms. Jackson claims her ex-boyfriend fathered her 26-year-old daughter and has denied her since birth due to a love triangle involving his wife. Ms. Jackson is adamant, despite the ongoing denial from her ex. Just wait until you see how this web of drama continues to unravel next.
Ms. Jackson, you've dragged your ex-boyfriend to court to prove he fathered your 26-year-old daughter, Tanika. You claim he's denied her since birth because you were caught in a love triangle with him and his wife.
That's a lie, Your Honor.
Hold on to your popcorn. Ms. Jackson reopened a child support case claiming Mr. Brown owes her over $20,000. This statement causes tension in the courtroom as both parties vehemently deny each other's accusations, revealing deep-seated issues over financial support. The courtroom's atmosphere is about to get even more heated.
1 week ago, you reopened your child support case in which you state Mr. Brown owes you $20,624.08.
That's Your Honor.
Mr. Brown, you and your wife claim you can't be the father because you were on the road for 3 months during the time of conception.
You'll want to sit down for this revelation. Mr. Brown and his wife contest the paternity claim, attributing his absence during the conception period to being on the road for work. This revelation introduces a significant challenge to Ms. Jackson's claim, raising questions about the timeline of events. Brace yourself, because the next scene adds even more spice.
You've basically taken care of your daughter alone.
That is not true,
Ms.
Your
Jackson,
Honor.
your entire life you were told that Mr. Brown was your biological father?
By Mr. and Mrs. Brown, they told me different stories that he might not be my father, but my mother always told me that.
Why do you reopen the child support?
Cause my husband don't want her.
It's still going on.
She's still
for
after my
26
husband.
years, it's still been going on. These people been denying my daughter for 26
She don't know who her daddy
years.
is.
Can you believe it? Ms. Jackson describes how she met Mr. Brown at a club, leading to an affair that began the same night. This encounter sets the stage for the ensuing relationship drama and the contested paternity, revealing the complicated beginnings of their relationship. Things are about to get even more tangled.
I
My
didn't
husband don't
start,
want
I
her.
met him at the club, Your Honor.
The club?
I met him at the club, and we started talking, we started dancing. He told me he'll be back, and when he left with his wife, he told me if she was just a friend. So he came back to the club. We danced, we partied, and then we went to the apartment.
Is that an apartment?
Not
Yes,
mine.
it was
No,
a
that's a
apartment.
lie.
Guess what's next? A dramatic confrontation occurs when Ms. Brown catches Ms. Jackson with Mr. Brown at their apartment, leading to a heated exchange. This moment highlights the ongoing deceit and the strain it has placed on all relationships involved. Wait till you see what happens when the truth starts spilling.
We was in the back of the room. She came in the door. She said, come on out, let me talk to you. And then later on, we was still in the apartment. He was dating her. They had broke up.
So you're at the apartment with him,
Yes, Your Honor.
having sex,
Yes, Your Honor.
unprotected. Ms. Brown walks in.
Yes,
And
Your
you remember it being Ms. Brown?
That was my apartment, y'all.
No, I didn't.
Me and Dwight was having problems. It was much later when I caught her in the house with him.
Check this out. Another confrontation takes place in a club where Ms. Brown finds Mr. Brown and Ms. Jackson together in the bathroom. This public discovery escalates the conflict, showing the repetitive nature of Mr. Brown's infidelity. The next twist in this saga is just around the corner.
Him in the bathroom. Well, I told her, I said, you can go.
So you find him in the club in the bathroom,
Yes, ma'am.
and you pop the door open.
Yes, sir.
They're in there.
Yes, Your
And
Honor.
what happens during this confrontation?
Okay, I told her, I said, you can go. It ain't about you. I got him. So I jumped on him. I let her leave. She walked out. I unlocked the door with the key. So at that point, I had a sliding walk-in closet. I heard my closet door slide open.
Did that just happen? Yes, it did. Ms. Brown narrates discovering Ms. Jackson hidden in a closet at her apartment, marking a significant and dramatic point in their ongoing marital strife. This instance serves as a poignant example of the deceit affecting their marriage. You won't believe what's coming up next.
When I got inside, I went right to the closet, opened the door. She standing up there naked. My man in my house. So even, he kept fooling around with her, like you say, going back and forth. So
you knew that he kept an affair going with her.
Yeah, off and on, yes. Oh,
So
yeah.
were you all married at this time?
Me and Mr. Brown had been together for about 3 or 4 years when he started messing with her.
Time for a reality check. The court discusses Mr. Brown's relationships and his irresponsible behavior, including unprotected sexual relations with multiple partners. This conversation underscores the reckless actions that have led to the current paternity dispute. The next piece of evidence is about to throw everyone for a loop.
Mr. Brown, do you remember going with her to the clinic?
No, Your Honor.
Do you remember being in a relationship with both of them at the same time, back and forth?
Yes, Your Honor.
Were you sleeping with both of them without protection?
Yes.
So why do you deny that Tanika is your daughter if you know you've been with this woman?
I've seen too many things happen. Like one morning, come find out, she was out with another man.
Now for a game changer. The pivotal moment arrives when Ms. Jackson presents a signed acknowledgement of paternity dated back to 1990, which Mr. Brown disputes. This evidence becomes central to the case, as it directly contradicts Mr. Brown's previous statements. The courtroom is on the edge of their seats as the final evidence is unveiled.
Was he acting like Tanika was his child?
Yes, Your
Was he
Honor.
excited about the
Yes,
child?
Your Honor. He named her Tanika Lachey Brown. Yes,
No,
so
he wasn't.
Came,
No, he
came
wasn't.
in the hospital, Your Honor.
He wasn't there when
asked
she was
me-
born.
He asked me where she was. He put the robe on her and he fed her. Not only that, Cajun, when she was born, he came by the
No,
house
she know
and
he
he
want
dressed
a
her
girl
up.
so bad.
He dressed and carried her to the pool hall with her, with his daughter.
And here's the big reveal. The DNA test results are revealed.
Mr. Brown, you are her father.
Jesus, Mom.
Ms. Strickland brings her husband to court to prove he's the biological father of their 4-year-old daughter, Nancy. She believes proving paternity will mend their strained marriage. Buckle up, because this family roller coaster is just leaving the station.
Ms. Strickland, you have brought your husband to court to prove he is the biological father of your 4-year-old daughter, Nancy. You say your marriage is strained and claim positive paternity results will save your relationship.
She emphasizes just how crucial today's paternity test results are, confessing that a negative outcome could likely break their marriage beyond repair. Mr. Strickland shares his anguish in the deep-seated issues with trust that have brought them to this pivotal moment. Stay tuned, because this emotional ride is about to hit a steep drop.
Because I love him with all my heart, and I would never do anything to betray his trust, ever. I need these results to prove to him that this is his little girl, this is his daughter.
Mr. Strickland?
Yes, Your Honor.
Tell the court how this is affecting you.
Well, it's caused a lot of stress in my life. I've had issues with trust. I've had issues with people cheating on me. I got with her and I thought it was completely different. And just one thing after another, it was things showing me that, can I trust her?
They delve into how they met and fell in love over a shared history of rocky relationships. The story unfolds with twists of fate and rings exchanged, despite the looming shadows of their pasts. Grab Grab your popcorn, folks. The plot thickens from here.
We'd met online on a dating site, and we talked on there for probably 6 or 7 months. Really good friends. We stayed best friends. We tried dating at that point in time. Unfortunately, I was in a bad relationship. I was in a bad marriage, and so was she. It wasn't working at that. We remained friends for 5 years. From there, it was, I'd given her a ring. I gave her my family ring.
Ms. Strickland explains the pressures of balancing a new job and family life in a different city, which only stoked the fires of Mr. Strickland's jealousy and suspicion. Every trip she made was a fuse to his powder keg of doubts. Fasten your seatbelts. Turbulence is ahead as trust issues take center stage.
While I was trying to obtain a home for us in a new city, and I was looking for a job. And in the 11 months, I went back and forth from where we were living. And in that time, it created jealousy issues. He thought that maybe I was seeing other people while I was going down to Memphis to see my children.
The couple hits a bureaucratic wall when they learn that because Ms. Strickland was still legally married to another man at the time of Nancy's birth, her ex is presumed the father by law. Next up, watch as they navigate through this legal labyrinth.
She had gone over there and she'd been to Memphis for probably about a week. And it was kind of rough. Because, of course I missed her. I loved her. The same thing as before. It was, she didn't want me around her. She didn't want me near her.
So, Miss Strickland, did you shun him?
No, Your Honor, it was never intended to shun Mr. Strickland. He pulled back from being affectionate towards my stomach. He would talk to my belly while I was pregnant.
They face a series of frustrating obstacles with the birth certificate due to their unmarried status and legal technicalities, adding fuel to the fire of Mr. Strickland's suspicions. Don't go anywhere. The drama escalates with every piece of paperwork.
When they first brought the birth certificate in, I had signed the paperwork. They refused because me and her were not legally married. She was still legally married to her ex-husband. They brought in the second birth certificate. She requested to have her maiden name put on it. They said there wasn't a problem. She signs the paperwork. They send it off. We wait in the mail for it to come in. We're sitting there in the mail and we get the birth certificate in, and I'm happy. I'm thinking, okay, she's gonna have her maiden name, but I can deal with that.
Ms. Strickland admits to sending a retaliatory nude photo to a coworker, unveiling layers of mistrust and miscommunication that have marred their marriage. The plot thickens. Let's see how Mr. Strickland reacts to this bombshell.
Those are pictures that I actually myself have taken.
So you took the pictures, but she sent them to another man. Oh.
One picture that she had sent that was very provocative. Her laying out on the bed, nude. I thought it was a beautiful picture because of the way the sun came across her body. I can't even look at that picture.
And Miss Strickland, you sent it to another man.
Yes, Your Honor, in retaliation.
As they air out their dirty laundry, more details about their entanglements with others come to light, deepening Mr. Strickland's doubts about their relationship and the paternity of their daughter. Hold on to your socks because this roller coaster is about to do a loop.
It's actually a little stronger. Realizing how easily could have got her name changed. Why hasn't she done it? I don't have time. I work all day.
Why haven't you done it? I mean, he's working. You just need $100. Ask for the DNA test to start the test. Why haven't you at least gone to talk to a lawyer about it and needed legal help?
Haven't had the money, Your Honor.
Okay.
The much anticipated paternity results are revealed.
It has been determined by this court. Mr. Strickland, you are the father.
Mr. Salinas drops the bomb. He doubts he's the daddy. He spills the tea about their boozy night and his skepticism about the timing of baby Lily's arrival. The judge chimes in, reminding everyone that it only takes one tango to start a family.
Mr. Salinas, you claim your doubts surrounding the paternity of month-old Lily are warranted. While you admit to a drunken night with the defendant, you don't believe her child was conceived that evening.
Ms. Cantu takes the stage to clarify her relationship status back when the night in question went down. She admits to a casual vibe, not locked down by exclusivity, shedding light on her personal life choices during that period.
So you had a boyfriend, but you slept with Mr. Salinas?
Mr. Salinas had messaged me asking to want to hang out and whatnot, and I hadn't seen him in over a year. When we first met, whenever I moved to Corpus Christi, we were kind of in the same lifestyle, and as time went on, as I was getting closer to finishing my college career, that kind of faded, and I really didn't, party anymore, so I didn't really hang out with him as much.
In a moment of oh no she didn't, Ms. Cantu confesses to the panic button press. Taking a morning after pill, she dives into the risky business of their unprotected rendezvous, acknowledging both the pregnancy scare and STD risks.
Were you afraid of getting pregnant at all? You didn't use protection with Mr. Salinas?
The day after, because I did realize that we had unprotected sex that night, or the day after, I did the responsible thing and I went to go take the morning after pill, that it would work, and I went about my day, went to class thinking that everything was good. Just because, I wasn't in an exclusive relationship. I'm young, it doesn't, people do it all the time,
But
so.
you understand that there are STDs?
Yes, I do understand this. Yeah.
Mr. Salinas finds out about Ms. Cantu's bun in the oven, not through a call, but through a Facebook comment. Talk about modern problems. This social media bombshell ratchets up the tension and piques his curiosity about his possible fatherhood role.
I got on Facebook one day and I saw her comment saying that she was pregnant.
On Facebook, this is your evidence? After this day, this night you had together, you didn't talk anymore, or you were still talking?
No, I didn't. We just had sex. We didn't talk anymore. I understood that she was kind of on the rocks with this other guy, and I made it clear to her that I didn't want a relationship or a commitment till I was 25 or 30.
The plot escalates as they discuss the need for a DNA test. Ms. Cantu throws another curveball. Her ex is also playing the not the daddy card. This confession layers the emotional complexity of the situation.
Have you had a DNA test for your ex?
No, we haven't. We haven't had a DNA test from my ex. He denies the baby and he told me that he didn't want anything to do with her, that it wasn't what he wanted or needed, and that I needed to take care of it.
The judge grills Mr. Salinas on his flimsy efforts to connect with Lily, dissecting his financial struggles and emotional readiness for potential daddy duties. This heart-to-heart digs into the gritty realities of stepping up to the plate.
Mr. Salinas, $100. You couldn't pull that together to go up and see this child?
Time, I really couldn't afford it. I had a minimum wage paying job and I was out doing my music. Wasn't sure if she was mine or not, and I didn't want to put forth the effort and taking steps to see all for nothing.
So with this minimum wage job, you still couldn't save up $100?
I didn't have that job for very long.
Mr. Salinas finally lays eyes on a picture of Lily, sparking a flood of emotions as he sizes up their resemblance and contemplates diving into the deep end of fatherhood.
So you've never seen the baby?
No.
Never. And the first time you ever lay eyes on this little girl that could be yours is on a picture in my courtroom.
That is correct, Your Honor.
I mean, just look at her. She's beautiful.
She's beautiful. I don't know if it's too early, but I still don't think that my features have come out in her. She looks a lot like her so bad. And I never even seen what the other guy looks like.
After all the buildup, the DNA results thunder in.
Is the biological daughter of Mr. Salinas. Mr. Salinas, you are the father.
The air thickens with tension as Ms. McBirth launches into her accusations. She claims Ms. Jackson defamed her on social media, calling her family deadbeats. This juicy bit adds a spicy layer to the already heated paternity dispute. You won't believe what comes next.
You petitioned the court for a DNA test to prove your son, Keitho Hughes, is not the father of Ms. Jack's 2-year-old son, Elijah Jackson. Suing Ms. Jackson for $1,000 for defamation of character because you claim she posted comments on social media claiming you and your family are deadbeats. You say Ms. McBirth has been poisoning her son by convincing him he's not the biological father of your child.
Just when you thought it couldn't get more heated, Ms. McBirth lets fly with some choice words for Ms. Jackson, dubbing her trash, trouble, and trifling. The gloves are off and the mudslinging has officially begun, but wait, there's more spice coming right up.
This woman is trouble. She is trouble with a capital T. She, as a matter of fact, I call her the 3 T's. Trash, trouble, and trifling. That's what she is. The little boy looks nothing like my son or any member of my family at all.
Things get real as Ms. McBirth whips out a photo, claiming the kid bears zero resemblance to her son. She's determined to prove that her son isn't the father of Ms. Jackson's child. Buckle up, as Ms. Jackson's comeback is just around the corner.
This is a photo of your son and the child in question,
Right.
and you say the child looks nothing like your son.
That baby white as snow. There's no way that could be my grandchild or my son's baby. He has no features like none of us. Nobody in my family look like that.
And just by looking at this child, you've determined and said to yourself, I do not believe that's my grandchild.
That can't happen. There's no way.
Ms. Jackson fires back, defending her child's paternity with a passion, suggesting that looks can be deceiving, especially with kids. She's not just going to sit back and take these accusations. The tension builds. Grab your popcorn for the next part.
Obviously, you have a different opinion. So why do you think she's in so much doubt over your child?
I have no idea, to be honest. Maybe because he is so white.
Because he all the white. He ain't got no black in here. Everything I see got powder puff on it. I don't see no chocolate nowhere, okay?
No, ma'am.
Whatever.
The plot thickens as Ms. McBirth and her crew double down on their accusations, painting Ms. Jackson as a serial deceiver. The courtroom turns into a battlefield of words. The scene is set for more revelations.
Was he the only person you were intimate with during that time?
Yes, ma'am.
She knows she lied. She lied.
Has been in our life. She's never was a girlfriend who are are a vampire. You are just a fly-by-night. We didn't know anything about you. He's been in a relationship for 10 years.
Mr. Hughes has.
10 years.
10 years.
He's been
by
in a relationship
another
for 2
woman.
years.
And
For 10
those
years.
are my children.
For 10 years. So all she basically was for him was a snack cake on the side of his meal.
In a shocking plot twist, Ms. McBirth turns the heat on her own son, admitting he's no angel either. This surprising admission throws a curveball into the proceedings. The courtroom's about to turn up the heat even more.
You just had a wild sex party that got shut down by the police station last night.
Hello.
Oh, ma'am.
Yes, you did. Yes, you did.
Hoes in this house.
Why is your neighbors complaining about the sex that goes on in your
There was
household?
no going on.
How
No,
you know
read
you're
the police
drunk?
report if
Okay,
you
let's
want
get some
to.
order. You're very tough on Ms. Jackson. Do you have anything to say about your son's behavior?
Know exactly what type of person he is. He just as trifling as she is.
Judge dives deep, questioning if another twist in the family tree could explain the child's paternity. Could there be another potential dad in this tangled web? Things are about to get even messier.
For your son to be kissing an innocent child?
Because it's not his.
It doesn't matter, really, if he's showing the child love.
not his.
Brother is sleeping with her and not using protection. Couldn't he possibly be Elijah's father?
Not in this case.
Like the
no,
old saying goes.
No.
Ms. Jackson lays it all out, trying to clear the air about who the daddy might be, with a timeline that could rival a soap opera plot. She's standing her ground, but the true test is just moments away.
Were you having your son Elijah call someone else daddy?
No, man. When he sees somebody like my son sees somebody, because he's not, I mean, he's around, but he's not there every day. And so when my son sees like a tall, light-skinned guy with a head on, he's like,
No, that man was black.
no,
that man was
no.
black as my mom. You liar.
You were, wait, call someone else daddy, or you were?
He knows when he sees him, he knows, oh, daddy. He knows that's his daddy.
As we edge closer to the big reveal, the anticipation in the courtroom is palpable. Everyone's on the edge of their seats waiting for the DNA results that promise to blow the lid off this family pot. The moment of truth is about to drop.
And whether Mr. Hughes is the father, Mr. Hughes, you are Elijah's father.
That's not true. What did you do?
Strap in, because this is where the drama kicks off. The case opens with Mr. Dark painting Ms. Bailey as the villain of the piece, accusing her of promiscuity and deceit. He passionately denies being the father of her 11-month-old son, despite a past fling and the lingering shadows of a broken heart. He describes the devastating heartache that's led to today's courtroom showdown. But you'll want to stick around to see how Ms. Bailey flips the script.
Mr. Dark, you say the defendant is a promiscuous liar who broke your heart 4 years ago out on your then relationship. You admit to having a one-night stand with her 2 years ago. Furious, Bailey is now claiming you fathered her 11-month-old son, which you say is impossible.
Here's where the plot thickens. Ms. Bailey vehemently counters Mr. Dark's narrative, insisting he's unmistakably the father of her son Jimmy. She portrays him as a classic deadbeat dad, fully aware yet neglectful of his paternal duties. The emotional stakes skyrocket as both parties vehemently defend their versions of their rocky past. But wait, there's more. Mr. Dark's bombshell revelation is just around the corner.
You say Mr. Dark is a deadbeat who knows full well is your son Jameer's father. You claim there is no way anyone but Mr. Dark could have fathered your son. Mr. Dark, why would you call Ms. Bailey a promiscuous liar?
I've been knowing Miss Bailey for probably about 7 or 8 years, and she's had a history of things like this.
You won't believe this twist. A pivotal moment unfolds when Mr. Dark shares a tale of betrayal, revealing that while he was away, Ms. Bailey's best friend spilled the beans about her infidelity. This juicy tidbit adds layers of distrust and betrayal to their saga, complicating the emotional landscape. Mr. Dark talks about his struggle to forgive, revealing the depth of his emotional wounds. Brace yourself, because the dispute about the dates is about to get dicey.
What happened to your relationship with Ms. Bailey at that point?
I tried to work past it, again, because of the things that we had already discussed, of us being a family and us trying to work things out, possibly us getting married or whatever the case may be. But I tried to work it past for about approximately a year or so.
How is it you came back together? Because Jameer is 11 months old.
We never stopped dealing with each other along the way. Even though we separated, we still occasionally seen each other every 2 months, 3 months or so.
Get ready for some detective work. The courtroom turns into a scene of a math puzzle as they dive into conception dates and past encounters. Mr. Dark meticulously argues that the math just doesn't add up. Challenging the timeline, Ms. Bailey presents with precision and skepticism. This critical analysis raises serious doubts about the paternity claim. Up next, Mr. Dark explains how deeply he's been involved in Jimmy's life, despite his reservations.
Seen each other and had sex, or
Yes,
just
ma'am.
seen each other
Still
and
was
said
having
hello?
unprotected sex sometimes, yes, ma'am.
You kept having sex until
2016.
It was like early March.
you have sex and you didn't use protection?
No.
ma'am.
When was Jameer born?
November 13th.
And And you're saying the last time you were really intimate was around, if Jameer's birth date is November 13, 2010.
You'll want to see this emotional roller coaster. In a heart-wrenching recount, Mr. Dark details his involvement in young Jimmy's life, even amidst swirling doubts about his paternity. He shares touching moments from the hospital and his ongoing engagement in the child's life, showcasing a conflict between his heart and his doubts. This poignant moment sets the stage for yet another twist. Ms. Bailey's complicated history with paternity is about to come to light.
I'm sorry?
And she
I
had
had him early. Like, I was due November 30th.
Oh, what a 30th.
So what you're saying, Mr. Dark, is this doesn't add up.
No, ma'am, no kind of way.
Because you weren't intimate until the second week of March. And
The first week, around the 6th or 7th of March.
with the calculation and the date she's using, Mr. Dark, you're saying this pregnancy would only been 8 months pregnant when you
Yes,
all were
ma'am.
intimate in March.
She had to be already pregnant. And so I guess I was just a crutch.
Here's where history seems to repeat itself. We learn about Ms. Bailey's troubling pattern with paternity disputes, revealing previous instances where fatherhood was questioned among her children. This backstory adds a rich layer to her character, suggesting a cycle of similar challenges. As this bombshell sinks in, keep your eyes peeled. Mr. Dark's current girlfriend is about to throw another wrench into the works.
Were you intimate in February during the window of conception we outlined between February 17th to February 24th? Both of you said no. So, Ms. Bailey, I must ask you respectfully, who were you intimate with during that time?
No
in
one.
February?
No one. I haven't had sex in February. No one.
Was the baby a full-term baby?
Yes, he was.
Things are heating up. Wait till you hear this. Mr. Dark's current girlfriend steps up to the stand, adding her own twist to the tale with claims about her own pregnancy and doubts about Jimmy's resemblance to Mr. Dark. Her testimony shakes up the courtroom, injecting new opinions and emotions into the already turbulent proceedings. And just when you think it can't get more intense, much anticipated DNA results are about to drop.
Thank you for joining us. You are what relationship to Mr. Dark?
I'm his current girlfriend and I'm pregnant with his child.
What would you like to tell the court?
Well, first, in my personal opinion, I don't feel like the baby looks like him.
So you do not feel like there is a physical resemblance. What else do you know about the paternity situation?
Well, my due date is November 19th. My conception date is February 24th.
The big reveal is here, and it's a game changer. As the DNA results are read aloud,
it has been determined by this court. Mr. Dark, you are the father.
Buckle up, here we go. Ms. Miller steps into the courtroom with a bombshell, asserting that her ex-fiancé, Scotty Rasmussen, who has been nothing short of a weekend warrior driving over hill and dale to see his daughter, isn't actually the father. Despite his unwavering dedication, she's been battling it out in court, repeatedly denied the DNA test that could end this saga. This opening salvo sets us up for what promises to be a roller coaster of legal drama. You'll want to stick around because the twists are just starting.
Ms. Miller, you're here to prove to your ex-boyfriend, Scotty Rasmussen, that he is not the father of your 3-year-old daughter, Zaylee Rasmussen. You claim you've been in an ongoing court battle over custody and have petitioned the court several for DNA tests, all of which have been denied. Mr. Rasmussen, you claim the real reason Ms. Miller is denying your Zaylee father is because she hates you.
Next up on this courtroom carousel, Mr. Rasmussen lays it all out, convinced that Ms. Miller's denials are fueled by sheer spite rather than fact. He talks about his epic treks, driving back and forth over 160 miles each time just to catch a glimpse of his daughter, spending more on gas than some people do on rent. His recounting paints a picture of a man not just fighting traffic, but battling for his role as a father. Hang on, as the plot thickens even further up ahead.
She just doesn't want me to have visitation. I drive 150 miles every other weekend just to pick up my daughter and drop her off. That's about 10,000 miles. That's wear and tear on my car. She doesn't have a driver's license. She doesn't have any way to bring her to me. She doesn't have any way to meet me halfway. She hates me because at the end of the relationship, when things got rocky, I'll admit it, I did go to another woman. I'll be the first to admit that. You know, it was my mistake.
Is that true, Ms. Miller?
No.
And just when you thought it couldn't get more tangled, Ms. Miller throws a curveball that could rewrite the whole storyline. She explains with a timeline tighter than a drum that when little Zaylee was conceived, Mr. Rasmussen was probably gambling away in Vegas, not exactly playing the family man. This revelation introduces the shadowy figure of another man, throwing a wrench into what Mr. Rasmussen thought was a closed book. Watch as we dive deeper into this soap opera.
When she was conceived, he wasn't even in the same state, Vegas. And at that time in March, I wasn't even with him. I was with somebody else because he broke up with me because he cheated on me.
We've gotten the fact that you two have an on and off relationship that has infidelity woven through.
Hold on to your popcorn, folks. Mr. Rasmussen passionately recounts his dedication from prenatal appointments to the delivery room, painting himself as Father of the Year. However, Ms. Miller counters with a less flattering picture, suggesting he was more interested in his laptop than labor pains, highlighting their clashing perspectives. Their shared history is as stormy as a soap opera, with accusations flying faster than a reality TV finale. What comes next? Well, it's about to get even juicier.
I went up to my manager, my immediate supervisor, said, hey, I gotta go, my girlfriend's in labor. I went home, quickly changed my clothes, and I drove about 45 miles through a winded, wooded road in Wisconsin in December, mind you, so it was about a foot of snow on the ground. I made it to that hospital in less than 35 minutes, beat her to the hospital. The moment she was discharged, I called my boss at work and said, take some days off. I don't care if you fire me or whatever, but I gotta stay here. My daughter's being born.
Gear up for more courtroom gymnastics. The discussion shifts gears to the nitty-gritty of child support. Despite the swirling doubts about his paternity, Mr. Rasmussen has been footing bills and fueling up for visits, showing his commitment isn't just financial, but deeply personal. This segment lays bare the complexities of love, money, and paternity entangled in a legal tug-of-war. Stay tuned, the emotional climax is up next, and it's a doozy.
Why was it that you were keeping this information so close to your hip 5-6 months after Zaylee was born?
The more she grew up, the more I started noticing more of her features, the more she started looking like the other.
She looks exactly like I did when I have a picture of me when I was 3 and a picture of her from just the other day.
Let me see that. Will you hand that to me? And so this is a picture of Zaylee on the left and you as a child, Mr. Rasmussen, on the right.
That is correct, Your Honor.
Prepare for the emotional earthquake. The tension peaks as the DNA results are finally unveiled.
It has been determined by this court. Mr. Rasmussen, you are not Bob. Miss Miller.
I'm sorry.
Miss Miller.
I'm sorry.
You just showed me where your priorities were right there. Because I held out hope that you weren't just acting a fool because you so mad at him that you would cheat your child out of a father. What you cheering? I'm a single mother with nobody that loves me or my child. What you cheering for?
I'm not.
No, you were.
Can you believe we're kicking off with this? The episode opens with formal greetings and introductions in the courtroom. Jerome, the court officer, gets a shout out from Judge Lake, setting a formal yet welcoming tone. Ms. Garnett, alongside her mom, steps up as the plaintiff, aiming to prove Mr. Langston is her biological father, a fact she's sure of despite his doubts. Just when you think it's a typical courtroom scene, the plot thickens.
Hello, Your Honor.
Hello.
This is a case of Garnett versus Langston.
Thank you, Jerome. Good day, everyone. Ms. Garnett, you and your mother, Ms. Miller, have opened your case to defendant that he is your biological father because you consider him a daddy and a best friend, state his doubt is unwarranted, and demand an apology once the results are revealed.
What a curveball right at the start. Mr. Langston throws in his own twist by doubting he's Ms. Garnett's dad and is adamant he deserves an apology after the results are in, adding a serious layer of tension. This whole drama traces back to a bombshell text message, igniting a wildfire of family secrets and drama. Fasten your seatbelts. The evidence up next is juicy.
You claim you have always known you weren't Ms. Garnett's biological and feel after the results are revealed, you are the one who deserves an apology. Now, how did this all start?
It started with a text message about a couple months ago. That wasn't the very beginning, but this is why we're here. It's brought us here, and this is the evidence that I brought in today.
Did that just happen? Ms. Garnett dives deep, sharing her struggle to connect with Mr. Langston, exposing his cold shoulder and a mysterious text that hinted at hidden family skeletons. This charged moment highlights her need for closure and the tangled webs within their family tree. Get ready, because the emotional thermostat is about to go up a notch.
Almost 2 years of reaching out to my father after visiting him in 2000. I pleading to get him to respond. He wasn't responding, and he finally responded with this message.
So I think your mother blanked me and you about your birth father being me. He was missing around when you. I don't want to keep causing you pain, but I have mixed feelings about it. Talk to your mother and find out the truth.
This part is a doozy. A major turn happens when Mr. Langston admits to a nagging suspicion about not being the father ever since Ms. Garnett was born, sparking questions about why he pulled back emotionally. Ms. Garnett reminisces about their close bond, which was mysteriously disrupted, leaving her confused and heartbroken. Stay tuned. The next part tugs at the heartstrings even more.
Well, I wasn't talking to her like I normally do.
Why?
Because I was just harboring
girlfriend that I had read from the beginning that she's not my daughter. I had it read from the beginning when she was born. Yeah, I did.
Miss Garnett, you grew up as a daddy's girl. You say he's your best friend.
He's always been my dad. I've always known him to be my dad. When I became around 21 years old, that's when we started really becoming close.
This segment really turns up the heat. As the court digs deeper, Mr. Langston recalls incidents that fueled his doubt, including a suspicious scenario involving Ms. Garnett. This exploration into their family dynamics, misunderstandings, and the shadows of mistrust reveals layers you wouldn't believe. And just when you think it can't get more intense, the upcoming climax will knock your socks off.
When the baby was born, Miss Garnett, did Mr. Langston participate in the birth?
Not at all. He didn't have, he was just not that type of person. I didn't even expect it.
Did he sign the birth certificate?
No.
I paid child support, $1,700, $1,000.
So how come you didn't take that $1,500,000 and pay for a DNA test when before I turned 36?
You'll need to sit down for this one. The DNA test results come in, and boom, Mr. Langston is not the biological father. This bombshell sends shockwaves through the courtroom, leading to an outpouring of emotion from Ms. Garnett. Her reaction cuts deep, spotlighting her shattered sense of identity and the high stakes involved. The aftermath? It's even more heartrending.
In the case of Garnett versus Langston, 36-year-old Shauna Garnett. Mr. Langston, you are not the father.
Are not the father?
He is not her biological father.
Can you handle this twist? Mr. Jungwirth kicks off the courtroom drama by sharing his deep-seated doubts about the paternity of his 2-year-old daughter, thanks to Miss Sandnop's previous slip-ups. He's so miffed he even called off their wedding, and now wants a paternity test to clear the air once and for all. Strap in, it's about to get even wilder.
Mr. Jungwirth, you claim the defendant's infidelities not only caused you to cancel your wedding, but also now to doubt the paternity of her 2-year-old daughter, Peyton. You're demanding a paternity test to prove you are not father.
Wait till you get a load of this. Miss Sandnop dives into the backstory of her infamous night out. What started as a small spat spiraled into a night of solitude turned slosh fest at the bar, which ended with her waking up clueless in a stranger's bed. The next bit is even juicier.
I don't understand why I came clean about it. I mean, if he's still having trust issues, then what are we doing here? Why are we still together? He forgave me for it.
He said he's unable to move forward with the wedding until he knows for sure.
Yes.
And that hurts you as well.
Yes. If I was honest with him about that one time, then why would I still lie?
Because if there's that doubt once, what's to say there's not that doubt again?
Why would I continue to lie? I did something wrong and I admitted my mistake.
Grab your popcorn. Here's a sweet moment. Flashback to the happier times when the couple found out they were expecting. They reminisce about sharing the news and the impromptu proposal that followed, a brief interlude of joy amidst the chaos. But don't get too comfy. The plot thickens right after this.
When I found out that she was pregnant, at first I thought it was a joke, but then, like 5 minutes into the conversation,
I sent him a picture of the paper of the HC positive test that the doctor had given me.
That was the happiest day of my life.
And he called me immediately after bawling. He didn't believe it was the truth.
I can see the emotion right now, even when you think about it.
I was beside myself, I couldn't say we were ready, but
we got ready fast.
We were ready.
Here's where it gets spicy. Miss Sandnop drops another bombshell about the timeline surrounding her pregnancy and that notorious one-night stand during their rocky phase. Brace yourself, there's more turbulence ahead.
Can't remember exactly what it was over, and it lasted for a couple days, and I ended up wanting to give him his space because he didn't want to talk. So I went to the bar and I got drunk, and I ended up not remembering anything that happened to me that night. And my intention wasn't to cheat on him. I didn't to have sex with another guy. I went out to just relax, take a breath, and just recollect my thoughts and let him have some time to breathe.
You might need to sit down for this one. Miss Sandnop reveals that she broke the news of her infidelity to Mr. Jungwirth 2 months after discovering she was pregnant, which led him to put the brakes on their wedding plans, plunging their relationship into further turmoil. Hold on to your seats. The emotional roller coaster isn't over.
I told him 2 months after I found out I was pregnant. I tried to break it to him easily, but he could tell right away that I had something on my chest that I wanted to get off of the pregnancy, and we were still fresh parents. And I was so ashamed of myself for betraying the one that I love, the man that I want to spend the rest of my life with. I wouldn't have said yes to him when he asked me to marry him. I didn't want to spend the rest of my life with him.
Cue the suspenseful music. As the tension peaks, the couple consults a fertility app to pinpoint the potential daddy, with both Mr. Jungwirth and the mystery man from the one-night stand hand, falling into the likely time frame for conception. Things are about to get even more intense.
What point did you figure out other man may be the father?
I got up on this app and we just started punching in the days. I have it right here. I can present this to you if you don't mind.
I would like to see it, please.
It's about...
So you went back to this app that you discovered.
Yes.
Tell me what this shows me. In yellow are the dates you were ovulating. And then in blue are the dates you were intimate with Mr. Youngberg.
Yes, Your Honor.
Guess what comes next? The plot thickens as trust issues take center stage again. Mr. Youngvert confesses he only sort of trusts Miss Sandknop, citing several suspicious late-night texts that keep him up at night. The truth serum is just around the corner, so stay tuned.
I trust him 100%. I've gotten over his...
Do you trust her, Mr. Youngberg?
No, he doesn't.
Not wholeheartedly.
Well, you asked the court for a lie detector, and that lie detector test was administered. Say you trust her to an extent.
In the beginning, even while she was pregnant with our daughter, she would get texts saying from random numbers. These aren't numbers that are named in her phone, like, are you up? Is Dustin around? Question mark, you know, and then I'd be awake, I'd catch this.
The moment of truth is here. The courtroom holds its breath as the lie detector results are revealed, proving Miss Sandknop's fidelity post-incident. The relief is temporary, though, because the paternity question still hangs in the balance. But wait, the biggest bombshell is about to drop.
Miss Sandknop, you met with a licensed polygraph expert, and what do you believe we will find out?
That I'm telling the truth, 110%.
Miss Sandknop, you were asked if you had sexual relation with anyone other than Mr. since the one-night stand you admitted to. You said no. The lie detector determined that was truth.
I told you!
Get ready for the grand finale. As everyone leans in, the paternity test results are finally unveiled.
It has been determined by this court. Mr. Youngberg, you are the father.
Ms. Strong calls Ms. McClain to court to prove her husband is not the father of Ms. McClain's child. Ms. McClain insists a single passionate night is the cause, and she is adamant that Mr. Strong is the father.
You've summoned the defendant, Ms. McClain, to court to prove that your husband did not father her 14-month-old daughter, Angel. You say 1 month ago, Ms. McClain calls you and claimed Mr. Strong was her child's father and demanded he take care of her.
The backstory of how the paternity dispute popped up is revealed. Ms. Strong and Ms. McClain, who were buddies, decided to spice things up for their birthdays by inviting Ms. Strong's husband, Mr. Strong, into a threesome.
Your Honor, a little over a year ago, me and Ms. McClain got together. We were friends, wanted to do something for our birthdays. We had discussed doing a threesome, which it was something my husband had always wanted to do, and I figured if I did it with him, then
you and Ms. McClain got together to talk about this?
Yes.
For your birthdays?
Yes, Your Honor. So we went back to our apartment and discussed it with Mr. Strong, and he was resistant at first. Had a threesome, had a good time that night.
Mr. Strong shares his initial reservations about the threesome due to his history of poor decisions and fears of being set up. He also let slip that they didn't stop at one. They had a total of 8 threesomes.
Because prior to our first months of our relationship, I made a lot of bad decisions. And when she approached me with this conversation, I thought it was another setup.
You thought it was a setup, so you reluctantly agree?
Yes, ma'am. I heard rumors about her being pregnant, but I was told it was her ex-boyfriend.
I understand, after this night, you just had this one night, or was it more than one night?
More than one night.
How many more threesomes did you have?
We've had a total of 8 of them.
Ms. McClain discovers she's pregnant shortly after their initial threesome. Despite her belief that she couldn't conceive due to medical reasons, the encounters continued throughout her pregnancy and even after.
After we had our very first threesome, I found out I was pregnant.
And you said you had 8 of them?
Correct.
So you were still having threesomes with them through your pregnancy?
And after.
When Ms. McClain came and told you she was pregnant, how did that conversation go?
I asked her if it was my husband's child, and she told me no.
I was in a relationship at that point in time.
Oh, while you were having the threesomes with them, you were in a relationship with somebody else?
Yes.
When Ms. McClain broke the news of her pregnancy, she initially rejected the idea that Mr. Strong was the father, blaming another man she was seeing. This confusion necessitated a paternity test to determine the truth.
So, Mr. and Ms. Strong, when do you realize this could potentially be your baby, Mr. Strong's baby?
I asked her when she was an infant and I seen her on the street, and I was introduced to her for the first time.
Were you there at the hospital when the baby was born?
We didn't know the baby was. We heard from a third party that she had her. We weren't even notified. She sent me a message out of the blue, needed my help with something and wanted Angel to have dad. I said, what are you talking about?
See, I just met the baby a couple months ago. I was at work when they brought her to see me.
Amidst the tangled relationships, Mr. and Ms. Strong have fully embraced the child, Angel. Angel, going all out with necessities and integrating her into their family while awaiting the paternity test results.
What type of relationship have you built with Angel?
The day they brought the kid to my work and we started hanging out, I did go out and buy a bassinet and some other baby stuff. Like she has clothes, toys, pretty much anything you can think of. I mean, I got it all within like 48 hours.
And you spend time with her?
Yes, ma'am.
Bring her by when I'm not going to the doctors myself.
He calls me and says, hey, come pick us up. Yes.
Mr. Strong opens up about his longing to be an active father if the test confirms his paternity, driven by his own experiences growing up without a dad. His dedication to not repeating history is touching.
So, I mean, there's not many redhead people in my family. I mean, I do have a little bit of Irish in me, but I mean, I'm just trying to be certain because I grew up without a father. So, I mean, if I am a father, I do want to be there for her.
You do believe that there is a possibility, but you are not 100% certain.
Yes,
and
I
you
just
are
want the reassurance that I am.
And because you grew up without a dad, you don't want to continue that cycle.
No, ma'am.
The court delves into how the three adults manage their unconventional relationship and co-parenting dynamic, particularly with respect to Angel's upbringing.
Said this innocent little baby deserves nothing less than our love and our support, and we welcome her into our family.
Yes, Your Honor. They treat her like that's their sister, no matter what.
And it seems like you have less doubt than your husband.
I look at the conception date. She's been telling me for, a year that she's not, but I went back to the time of conception. She didn't leave my bed that night, so.
She didn't leave your bed?
No.
And she told us for a year that he wasn't the father, and that's the only reason we're here today.
Judge Lake reads out the paternity test results, and in a shocking twist,
it has been determined by this court. Mr. Strong, you are not the father.
Here's where the plot thickens. Ms. Diaz lays it all out, explaining she's petitioned the court for DNA test results to confirm her biological father's identity. She suspects her adoptive mom, Ms. Mendoza, is throwing roadblocks in her path to discovering the truth. The tension between Ms. Diaz's need for answers and Ms. Mendoza's protective instincts ramps up the drama in the room. Just you wait, the next scene is even juicier.
You have petitioned the court for the results of a DNA test, but mother, Ms. Mendoza, is trying to stop from discovering the truth. You doubt whether your adopted daughter has actually found her biological family.
Cue the emotional backstory. Ms. Mendoza takes us back to a time when she was told she'd never have kids of her own. Choosing to adopt Ms. Diaz was, in her eyes, a heroic rescue from fate. This heartfelt revelation reveals layers of emotional complexity and the motivations behind Ms. Mendoza's actions. Strap in, because the emotional roller coaster is about to take another steep dive.
I was 20 years old. I was told that I was not ever going to have children. The opportunity arose to be able to raise a child. One of my ex-husband's best friends came and told us that he had gotten his mistress.
Things get a tad more complicated here. Ms. Mendoza airs her doubts about whether the biological mother even knows who Ms. Diaz's real father is. Her skepticism and emotional investment add depth to the unfolding drama, setting up a powder keg of familial tension. You won't want to miss what's coming up next. It's a real doozy.
Because I've done everything that I have for Leah, so that her mother even knows who her biological father is. I've been through this with her. Her mother had an extramarital affair. Senior is the father because at the same time I also heard that she had slept with.
Talk about a pivotal moment. Judge Lake steps in to validate Ms. Diaz's quest for her roots while also giving props to Ms. Mendoza and her family for their loving role in her life. This balancing act highlights the episode's themes, the quest for biological ties and the undeniable value of chosen family love. But hold on, there's more to this saga that will tug at your heartstrings.
Ms. Mendoza, you, your husband, your family, you have been such a beautiful gift to Ms. Diaz. And that should never be underestimated. They were your parents. And they are your parents. They are.
Enter the possible brother. The courtroom drama escalates as Mr. Honeycutt strides in, potentially adding a new branch to Ms. Diaz's family tree. His arrival stirs up all sorts of anticipation about the DNA results. The reveal is next, and let me tell you, it's a revelation you'll have to see to believe.
Hello, sir.
Hello.
Thank you for joining us today.
No problem.
The paternity of Ms. Diaz and her search to find her paternal family. How did you connect with her? You saw her ad.
I was asking him, if he would ever have any more kids. He was like, no, man. Honestly, I possibly have another.
Grab some tissues, folks. The results are in.
The probability of siblingship is 0.6%. They do not share biological parents and are not siblings.
After a 12-year relationship, Mr. Robinson is shell-shocked when Miss Fuller admits that Brandon Jr., their 3-year-old son, might not actually share his DNA. This bombshell has shattered their engagement and left Mr. Robinson's heart in tatters. Brace yourselves, the twists just keep coming.
She confessed that your 3-year-old son, Brandon Jr., may not be your biological child. Fuller is broken off and your heart is in ruins because of the possibility you may now lose your son too.
Mr. Robinson is asking the court for a measly $100 to cover the cost for changing Brandon Jr.'s name if it turns out he's not the dad, signaling his readiness to cut ties and move on. The revelations just keep escalating. Watch out.
We're asking the court to award you $100 to pay the fee to change Brandon Jr.'s name. Indeed, the results reveal you are not his father.
The alarming truth about his son's paternity surfaced when Brandon Jr. was just 6 months old. During a family crisis and a forced separation, suspicions were sparked at a birthday party, leading to Miss Fuller's evasive actions and a troubling silence. What unfolds next will make your jaw drop.
So you all were in a relationship.
We were in a relationship.
Baby was born.
Yep, 6 months in, we had to move. We fell on some hard times.
Okay.
Effectively, we moved back to, she moved back to her mom. It just so happened to be a birthday party also. I take him to the birthday party. Later on, after the party is over, I drop him off.
Miss Fuller tearfully admits to spending a week with the potential biological father, which led to Mr. Robinson's heartbreaking suspicion. His world turned upside down as he started questioning his son's resemblance to himself. The emotional roller coaster is just getting started.
I had left to go be with the guy that I thought that could be his father.
To where when she finally called you from the private number, it was, is Brandon Jr. my son? How did you come to that?
Why would you just disappear?
He started looking like the other guy to me when he was 6 months.
Mr. Robinson reminisces about the profound connection he feels with Brandon Jr., celebrating the joys of fatherhood. But the discovery of a revealing message from Miss Fuller to another man throws everything into chaos, leading to an explosive confrontation. Things are about to get even more intense.
She got on social media on my phone, okay, but forgot to close it. So I'm sitting on the couch, about to jump on my Facebook, but I'm post my social media or whatever. I'm looking at posts like, wait a minute, this ain't mine. She sent the one message to the guy, and I guess that's when she went to go live with the guy.
The court session exposes Miss Fuller's long-standing affair, which she hid throughout her relationship with Mr. Robinson. This secret relationship, overlapping with her pregnancy, throws a wrench into everything we've heard so far. The drama intensifies in the following scene.
It was off and on about 8 years. Around the time
it went on for how long?
It was like 8 years off and on, but it wasn't like
8 years off and on? Until what time?
Until around the time I got pregnant with my son. That's when I stopped. My son is like, I wasn't supposed to have kids.
The truth about Miss Fuller's 8-year on and off affair surfaces, stunning both Mr. Robinson and the courtroom. This clandestine relationship, aligning with her time of conception, casts significant doubts over Brandon Jr.'s paternity and complicates the emotional and legal landscape even further. Next up, the climax you've been waiting for.
It's the calendar that indicates you've been with Mr. Robinson. In 2004, you meet the other potential father. Then you have a little break in 2005. 2006, you reconnect with that other potential father. Mr. Brandon Robinson Sr., you are his father.